Hi guys. So quite a lot has been happening behind the scenes, and I spoke about, addressing or allowing myself space and time to process a lot of the things that have taken place throughout my life. And when I just decided to do that, as I said before, it was like all these worms came up the surface of my subconscious saying, finally, she's listening to us. And I had this knowing, or this feeling, that it was going to get perhaps more difficult or seemingly like going backwards before I felt like I was moving forwards. And within the first week, I really did feel this breakthrough. It was like spring bulbs coming forth and such like, and feeling that sense of hope rise up again. And last night again was another day of some of that subconscious wanting to come forwards. And I really believe, like Rumi quotes, the answers aren't outside of you. Everything that you're seeking is seeking you. The answers come from within. And it's not like I'm being told answers to the questions that I have. I've just simply allowed myself space and time to let what wants to come up, okay? And I believe once you give yourself that permission, wonderful things can happen. It's because it's like something's been knocking at your door and you've been refusing to answer it for years, perhaps. And if you just say, okay, come in, then those things are going to come in and they're going to be dealt with. And it really has been so fascinating. Like, I had this dream of the left hemisphere of my brain and the right hemisphere of my brain. But I was the right hemisphere, which is what I identify mostly with, is that kind of creative, linguistic, poetic, very language, very artistic, very creative side of me. I know I have a logistical, analytical side. We all do, but I tend to not enjoy that aspect so much. Although, I think realizing that I have that kind of ADHD brain, I definitely need this more analytical, logical part of me to give me structure or a safe space for my creative side to flourish. And the work that I do now is requiring me to be quite structured and organized and, things that I don't feel as comfortable doing. And in this dream, I was the perspective of the right-hand side of my brain. And there was this chemistry. You have like the cortex in the middle that communicates the left and the right hemisphere. But there was this chemistry between me, the right-hand side of the brain, and the left-hand side of the brain. And I wanted to connect with that side of my brain in this dream. But we were like beings, but the left-hand side of my brain looked like spaghetti. It was all tangled up, and I was just so overwhelmed with the idea of having to make sense of that side of my brain. And it was quite disturbing in a way. And I woke up feeling quite anxious, like, what is this dream trying to tell me? Because your subconscious tries to speak to you through these dreams. And I think what I realized was I do need to have a better relationship with that aspect of me in order for me to feel less chaotic. And what's come up from that dream is a whole ton of stuff about the way I work, about why I don't think I'm very good at being logical and analytical, where those thought patterns have come from, realizing that most of them are limiting beliefs that perhaps have been spoken over me as a child and a teenager, and then realizing later on in life I'm not stupid, I am quite clever. I can be clever. I've got a brain. But yeah, it's brought up all this stuff. And that's just from allowing yourself space to let things come up. And then from this letting yourself or realizing that you have limiting beliefs, this voice is telling me, I've got fish, I care for fish. And they were in my dream too. And the fish grow to the size of the tank. So the bigger the tank, the more space the fish can grow. Yeah, so in terms of these fish, I was looking in this big fish tank that I feed my fish every morning. I love them. I've got loads of them. And they wait for me, and they're all like, oh, she's come to feed us. Mummy's come to feed us. And in this dream, there was this huge shop window, which was a big fish tank. And I was looking close to the fish, and the water was murky. And the spirit said, what are you looking for? And I said, I'm looking for myself. And as soon as I said that, this little girl appeared, a small version of me, soaking wet and shivering and cold with her head down. And I realized, and I was like, I need to care for her. Again, it's that inner child caring for the little girl. And I said, what's wrong with you? Why are you so sad? And she said, I find life scary. And it made me really emotional, like, because there are times when I found life scary, don't we all, right? And I can look back and I can see points in my life where I felt like a scared girl. I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel secure. There were a lot of changes, a lot of upheavals, a lot of loss, a lot of pain, a lot of trauma. And that little girl in me just wants to know that she's safe. Still, as an adult, I just want to feel safe. And I think this connection I've disconnected, in a sense, to structure makes you feel safe, right? So it's almost like my subconscious saying, bring in a bit of structure. It's not my forte, shall we say, to be really structured, but it's actually what my subconscious is requiring. See? And I am a therapist, but I'm analysing myself and having this ability to understand simply because I've given myself space to listen. Listen to yourself, guys. Give yourself space. Because just by allowing yourself to be honest and real with what's real, not talking about what's happening on the outside. I'm talking about your deep subconscious wounds that are longing to be tended to. Because Spirit said to me when I looked in that fish tank, going back to the fish tank, you're going to need a bigger fish tank because you're going to grow bigger. But you can't grow bigger and you can't expand and you can't stretch yourself out if you refuse to look at what you're not looking at. And you refuse to heal those things, because in order to have a better future, something else I heard last night, the future's got this, right? The future's got you. And your future can be so different if you face your past. When, my marriage broke down and I was facing like homelessness and single mum, I didn't feel safe. And I had to learn to feel safe in my own energy, which made me swap. Perhaps I don't like that kind of energy. I had to swap into that masculine side of me where I was the provider and had to, there was no one else to rely on. It was me. I was holding that weight. And where am I going with this? I get distracted. I'm in a street where there's lots of things going on. So I probably don't tend to want to do that. But when that situation happened, this is where I was going, it gave me an opportunity for a new Rebecca to burst forth, and I got my tattoos, Stay Wild, and I changed things, and I became a yoga teacher and a coach and an online, and it all developed. I wouldn't have existed in this capacity if it wasn't for that bad time. And again, at this point in my life, this point in my life now, it feels exactly the same. Like, this is an opportunity for me to face what feels uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. And a lot of stuff's coming up. And I cried last night about things that were coming up. But they need looking at. And they need looking at in order for me to heal and mend and grow and strengthen those areas of weakness so that I can expand even more. And so that I can be more of an asset, shall we say, or a tool to help others, But anyway, I said I'd share my journey, and it's also very therapeutic for me to document it all. So that is where we're at. Love ya!